The black civil rights activist Fannie Lou Hamer talked about the need to let go of the bitterness that came from the poisonous root of slavery and segregation. Ain't no such thing as I can hate anybody and hope to see God's face, she said. This is what inspired the brother of Botham Jean to offer forgiveness to his convicted murderer, Amber Guyger, in what is widely acclaimed as a moment no one will ever forget, a moment of grace that taught a nation about the Christian gospel more so than 1,000 sermons. 18-year-old Brant John took the stand after sentencing and spoke to Guyger. "I forgive you," he said. "I love you as a person, and I don't wish anything bad on you." He then asked permission to give her a hug. Permission granted. And their embrace, face to face, was something that reminds of the words of William Arthur Ward. We are most like beasts when we kill. We are most like men when we judge. We are most like God when we forgive. Some people have been perplexed by the reaction, though, of many black people to this act of generous forgiveness, to the point where some have hinted that they must not really understand what it means to be Christian. But I need to tell you that they may understand it better than we do. You see, this is nothing new. Black people have been forgiving white people for our atrocities for the whole of our nation's history. It seldom goes the other way. Think about it. When a black person shows us that kind of Christian grace, it too often allows us to let go for that moment of our fear that black people will demand more of us than we want to give, and that they will expect us actually to change too. We feel let off the hook, and we go right back to our old ways, and that is not what Brant Jean meant to happen. Allison Jean wouldn't let that be the interpretation. While applauding her son's forgiveness of Amber Guyger, she reminded us that forgiveness is first for the forgiver. That is what Brant needed to do for himself so that he could move on. It does have effect on the one forgiven as well, but not simply to let one off the hook, but instead to put a new onus onto that person to become worthy of it. Mother John called on Amber to use her prison time for reflection and repentance, to become a better person. And she called on Dallas to do the same, to do our laundry, to get our house in order. Forgiveness for us, she said, as Christians, is a healing. But as my husband said, there are consequences. It does not mean that everything else we have suffered has to go unnoticed. Right. Forgiveness is what people do personally to knock down the barrier between them so that they can experience the kind of embrace we saw in that courtroom. But justice is a public matter. Forgiveness doesn't preclude justice. Justice creates the conditions under which we are all able to live together well. As Cornel West has said, justice is what love looks like in public.